Quick introduction since context matters. I'm Lawrence, 31-year-old male. Half a decade back, I walked out on my entire family. It wasn't due to any explosive argument, but because I finally realized I'd never measure up in their eyes. My household has this obsession with achievement. Father Graham holds a regional manager position. Mother Connie handles insurance policies. They brought us up convinced that your career label defines your value. My brother Barry turned into an accountant. My sister Penelope works as a dental hygienist. Both solid careers, the kind my parents loved boasting about. Then comes me. I quit university after just 2 years. Took warehouse gigs, drove delivery vans, whatever brought in cash as I tried to sort out my path. In their view, this counted as total defeat. This was a source of shame, the topic they dodged clumsily when chatting with extended relatives during gatherings. The disdain intensified with each passing year. I turned into the warning example. The butt of their jokes. At age 26, I relocated 6 hours distant. I claimed I required breathing room. Truthfully, I needed distance to escape the sensation of being worthless air. As I departed, not one person begged me to remain. Barry assisted with packing my vehicle and remarked that perhaps this would force me to mature at last. 5 years passed with barely any interaction. Just birthday messages, brief holiday conversations lasting less than 10 minutes. I established a contracting company, mastered various skills. Created something tangible, nothing they would admire, yet it belonged to me. Barry had helped pack while tossing out that snide farewell comment. That level of subtle hostility deserves preservation in an exhibit. Here's your light fixture. Here's your lifelong emotional damage. Perhaps now you'll finally mature. Meanwhile, Lawrence invested 5 full years constructing an entire enterprise from zero. And incidentally, contractors stay reserved for months ahead these days. They're earning serious money. But obviously that lacks respectability since there's no office desk or ID badge involved. Meanwhile, Barry sits there as an accountant. Well done on your spreadsheets, I suppose. You combined digits. Groundbreaking achievement. Last month I committed an error. Believed perhaps enough time had passed for change, drove those 6 hours, approached their entrance like a fool. Mother's expression contorted right before her greeting. She glanced at my work boots and plaid shirt, and her opening line was whether I'd arrived to scrub their bathrooms since that suited my abilities best. Father followed behind chuckling, labeling me the household cleaner, inquiring if I'd come to brush their driveway. Barry showed up holding his device and recording, declaring that his pathetic sibling imagined he fit in here. Perhaps they'd permit me to detail vehicles for $5. Penelope gestured toward my footwear, commenting that those worn-out items better not drag destitution indoors. I ought to enter via the staff door. Mother continued onward. All my cousins had become physicians lately. As for me, I'd count myself fortunate to swab their exam rooms. Then Father extracted change from his pocket and flung it toward me. Fare for the ride back, he declared, or purchase cleanser since I reeked of defeat. The entire quartet laughed as the coins scattered near my shoes. I gathered none of it, uttered nothing. Headed toward my vehicle as their laughter persisted. Drove back replaying each insult. I want every reader here to grasp exactly what occurred. This guy traveled 6 long hours, highway stretches, convenience store caffeine, hoping perhaps his relatives had grown into decent individuals. Instead, they lined up to deliver degradation. As though they'd practiced the routine, Mother kicked off with the bathroom quip. Father followed with the cleaner remark. Barry captures it all like viral material. And Penelope, whom we'll discuss shortly, frets over footwear contaminating the flooring. And Graham, this mid-level executive at some average firm that tolerates him, dips into his pocket and hurls coins toward his own child, treating Lawrence like a street entertainer who'd flopped. That's barely inventive malice. It's the sort of scene from a 19th century tale about destitute children. The mere fact that Lawrence didn't ignite from sheer fury on the spot proves he's far nobler than I could manage. But they remained unaware of one crucial detail. 3 months earlier, my grandmother Miriam had died, the sole individual who ever regarded me as fully human. She bequeathed her entire estate to me. The residence, the acreage, the finances, all of it. No one else realized because probate proceedings were underway, and I'd coordinated discreetly with her attorney. Yet the dwelling where they resided fell under my grandmother's holdings. She purchased it from my parents ages ago without ever changing the title. They'd occupied my property all along. Every last one of them. Bari occupied the lower-level suite. Penelope had the rear section. This evening, 3 weeks following the coin-throwing incident, a completely different group arrived at my entrance. They'd just discovered the testament. Grandma Miriam delivering the perfect countermove from beyond. Listen, this lady observed her descendants mistreating Lawrence like refuse for years. She phoned him monthly. Inquired about his venture. Witnessed the dynamics and likely sat calmly, perhaps enjoying her beverage, fully aware these folks existed on temporary borrowed ground in a residence they assumed was permanent. Grandma didn't merely grant Lawrence a legacy, she equipped him with leverage. And the exquisite part? She never needed to witness the fallout herself to deliver this payback. Her attorney simply mailed one official notice. That's strategic mastery, not simple tactics. That's orchestrating over the long term, even after death. Miriam essentially declared, I won't witness it firsthand, but my legal representative will, and that suffices. Update 1. Okay, plenty of you asked how they learned about the testament. Here's the sequence. Grandma Miriam's attorney dispatched official notifications to every relative last Monday detailing the asset allocation. Routine legal step. I'd anticipated it and truthfully had been marking days since the porch disgrace. My device erupted Tuesday morning. Initially, Mother used this warm tone I hadn't encountered in ages, claiming she merely wanted to touch base, inquiring about my well-being. She referenced receiving puzzling documents concerning Grandma's holdings, feigning confusion as though she hadn't scrutinized every line repeatedly. I permitted her to ramble. Allowed her to dance around the topic for 20 full minutes until she finally posed the direct question. Had I heard anything regarding Grandma designating me the residence? Not merely any residence, the very one they occupied. I confirmed yes, I'd been aware for 3 months. The warmth vanished swiftly. She insisted on knowing why I'd withheld the information, why I'd permitted them to remain without disclosing my intentions. I replied I had no concrete plans yet. I remained in discussions with the attorney regarding probate proceedings, which held truth. I simply omitted that those proceedings neared completion. 20 minutes of Connie performing verbal acrobatics to mimic a caring parent. 20 minutes of darling, how are you, when merely 3 weeks prior she'd inquired if he'd arrived to sanitize bathrooms, and Lawrence simply allowed her to stew. Let her contort herself attempting to portray a role abandoned for 10 years. That's not small-mindedness, that's craftsmanship. And then the revelation I'd known for 3 months. During the coin incident, during Bari's recording, during their amusement, he knew. He remained present, fully conscious that every syllable they uttered merely deepened their self-dug pit. Occasionally, the finest payback involves patience, permitting individuals to reveal their true nature while you possess complete control. Then Father joined the call. Graham skips pleasantries. He dove directly into commands. This had to represent an error. Grandma lacked full mental capacity toward the conclusion. They intended to challenge it. I ought to act properly and transfer all assets to Mother as the legitimate offspring. I inquired whether he'd prefer I utilize the staff entrance during my property evaluation visit. Utter silence. Then he branded me thankless, claimed Grandma would feel disappointment at my conduct, insisted I exploited a deceased woman for trivial vengeance over harmless teasing. Harmless teasing. 5 continuous years of degradation. Coins scattered at my feet, and he labels it teasing. I informed him the attorney would contact them regarding further actions and ended the call. Graham truly claimed Grandma lacked mental clarity, concerning a woman who plainly perceived the reality and acted decisively. Grandma Miriam possessed complete clarity. That's precisely Graham's difficulty. She observed it all, yet this individual dares summon what Grandma desired. Grandma demonstrated her wishes clearly, Graham. She documented them legally. Through an attorney, that's unambiguous and harmless teasing. Sir, you hurled coins at your child as though he were a coin fountain. That's no jest. That's starting a conflict you failed to realize you'd already lost. Here's the twist that complicates matters. Bari sent me a separate message that evening, not an expression of regret. Bari never expresses regret, yet attempting an alternate tactic. He acknowledged my distress regarding the encounter. Events escalated excessively. But this concerned kin and required private resolution. He proposed we confer alone to discuss maturely. Part of me considered disregarding him, but here's an aspect of payback few mention. Simply departing lacks fulfillment. I required them to comprehend precisely their actions and the precise reason for the outcome. Thus I consented to rendezvous Thursday at a roadside eatery midway between our locations. And yes, some of you likely yell warnings at your devices currently, but I possessed strategy. I developed strategy across 5 years. Each instance they diminished my worth, I incorporated it. Each solitary holiday while they enjoyed gatherings, I perfected it. Bari arrived Thursday behaving as though we were sensible professionals brokering terms. He prepared an entire proposal explaining possible arrangements. Perhaps I'd transfer the real estate to them reasonably, preserve harmony, prevent legal fees consuming grandma's assets. Then he disclosed that father and mother faced monetary difficulties. They'd secured a home equity credit line against the dwelling 2 years prior, except the dwelling never belonged to them for such borrowing. I grinned for the initial time during our exchange. Because Bari unwittingly supplied exactly what I required, more details forthcoming. I must determine legal implications before proceeding. But readers, it appears my relatives unintentionally engaged in misrepresentation concerning my asset. Bari entered believing himself the clever party. The accountant, the figures expert, allow me to manage Lawrence, I'll mediate. And then he freely disclosed details about the credit line. Casually noted that mother and father obtained $80,000 secured by a residence they lacked ownership of. Ha ha ha. Bari, my sibling in faith, you're the accountant. Your primary responsibility involves comprehending finances and titles. Yet you neglected verifying the deed holder before your parents secured borrowing. Ha ha ha. This proves magnificent. Lawrence attended seeking resolution, yet departed carrying fresh leverage. Ha ha. Each family member continues presenting additional justification for my course. It's as though they accelerate their personal downfall. Ha ha ha. Update 2. I consulted Grandma's attorney regarding the equity credit issue. It proves intricate, yet falls short of outright criminal misrepresentation. The lending institution erred by failing to confirm ownership adequately prior to granting funds. That becomes their burden to resolve. But here's the practical outcome. My parents carry roughly $80,000 liability on credit secured by real estate they never legally possessed. And that obligation persists. The lending institution now enters the picture. They received notification that title transfers via probate to me. And they panic since their security interest holds virtually no value. This situation turns chaotic for all parties, particularly for mother and father who executed those borrowing agreements. I traveled southward Saturday, not toward their residence, toward Grandma's residence, my residence officially, but I desired viewing it firsthand since matters escalated, inspected the grounds. Examined modifications they'd implemented across years. Bari's lower-level living space, Penelope's separate section, all constructed upon territory they presumed eternally theirs. The lending institution reacts like, hold on, we advanced funds to whom for which asset? Someone in their approvals section faces serious scrutiny. But what truly stings, Graham and Connie utilized that $80K believing their future secured. Likely upgraded features, cleared balances. Enjoyed extravagance on borrowed value they lacked rights to access. And presently they owe $80,000 while facing potential displacement. That's beyond ordinary justice. That's justice's harsher, more seasoned counterpart. Meanwhile, Lawrence surveys his holdings like an owner conducting routine checks, observing every enhancement they contributed to his asset value. Appreciate the added lower-level suite, Bari. Significantly boosts appeal. While positioned in the rear yard, Penelope emerged. She undoubtedly spotted my vehicle. And regarding Penelope, she's consistently remained reserved, allowing mother, father, and Bari to dominate conversation while she followed suit. Thus I anticipated she'd either avoid me or retreat indoors. Instead, she approached directly and began speaking, not precisely expressing remorse, but offering rationale. She stated she failed to grasp existence within this household. Such intense expectation to excel, to become noteworthy, and my withdrawal plus menial employment wasn't merely disappointing. It terrified them, like observing surrender. I responded that's a polished method to rationalize treating your sibling like refuse for 10 years. She persisted. Explained mother and father weren't inherently harsh. They simply lacked tools for managing setbacks since they'd avoided them personally. That Bari intensified because he dreaded resembling me. Thus, he exaggerated compensation. That she regretted her role, even if unable to represent others. Then she inquired my intentions. Would everyone face homelessness? I replied I remained undecided, which constituted falsehood. I possessed full clarity on my path, but I desired they linger in doubt. Identically to how I'd lingered in doubt across 5 years, questioning whether the ridicule would ever cease. Penelope arrives wielding the "you fail to comprehend the expectations" argument. Madam, you instructed him toward the staff entrance. You didn't merely comply, you contributed. You supplied your personal insult to the spectacle. That transcended expectation. That constituted participation. You recognized the routine and amplified it. In this entire, they struggled with setbacks rationale. Lawrence never faltered. He departed studies and constructed an enterprise. He shaped existence according to personal vision. The sole true setback belongs to a household measuring value via professional labels while overlooking their own child. Yet I value Lawrence permitting them to stew in suspense. 5 years he pondered adequacy. They can ponder shelter stability for several weeks. She noted Bari's spouse expects a child, first awareness since they rarely share updates. She questioned whether I truly intended displacing an expectant mother. And yes, that struck differently. But Penelope remains ignorant of one fact. Bari's brief footage from the porch encounter, he uploaded it, shared on his online platforms with some remark concerning kin gatherings. His colleagues viewed, his acquaintances viewed. 200 individuals witnessed my relatives hurling coins toward me and joined the amusement. I discovered it recently when an acquaintance from my former area mentioned concern for my state. Thus, choices now confront me. The lender pursues my parents. The real estate shifts to me within 3 weeks. And circulating somewhere exists footage of my disgrace that my sibling exploited for engagement. Penelope departed tearful. Mother observed entirely from the kitchen pane, yet stayed indoors. I returned and prepared official displacement documents, not submitting yet, merely preparing. Then Sunday evening the complete group arrived at my residence, all 4. That's the scene referenced earlier. Them kneeling beyond my entrance, but I must clarify events upon opening. Bari uploaded the footage, absorbed that reality. This individual recorded his sibling's degradation, reviewed the material, concluded this merits sharing, composed a description and published for colleague approval. 200 viewers consumed Lawrence's lowest moment as amusement, and presently Bari seeks leniency because his spouse carries a child. Bari, you transformed familial pain into digital interaction. You refused private injury. You publicized it. You rendered it enduring. Somewhere within feeds that recording lingers. And you expect Lawrence to sympathize regarding displacement. You disseminated his suffering to your circle and fret over residents. The boldness truly astonishes. I require rest. Final update. Sunday evening, the quartet drove 6 hours to reach my place. Rain poured. They positioned outside my entrance, and upon reviewing my surveillance feed, I observed precisely as described. Graham, Connie, Bari, and Penelope, drenched thoroughly, appearing frantic. I permitted 15 minutes of waiting before unlocking. Mother launched instantly. They felt profound regret. Never intended any portion. Merely caught off guard by my arrival and matters spiraled. Father interjected, claiming kinship means never forsaking one another over misinterpretations. Bari remained unusually silent. Penelope fixed her gaze downward. I questioned Bari regarding his device location, capturing this episode also. Perhaps upload with commentary about his unfortunate sibling finally possessing leverage they required. He claimed the footage constituted mere humor. He'd removed it. Never anticipated actual viewership. I counted 200 witnessed, including former acquaintances. Individuals now possessing lasting evidence of my relatives flinging coins like toward a panhandler. Mother began weeping. Declared grandma desired family unity. She hadn't reared us to fracture over possessions. 15 minutes under rainfall. That's fitting symbolism, and I harbor zero remorse. And mother's opening maneuver we never intended. You intended precisely, Connie. You inspected his footwear and commenced with bathroom humor. That's no accidental phrase. That's rehearsed disdain. And now they summon Grandma Miriam once more. Grandma Miriam, who designated everything to Lawrence expressly due to witnessing their treatment. Cease weaponizing that lady's name to manipulate the sole person she genuinely valued. Grandma clarified her desires. She desired Lawrence possessing authority. She desired him holding options. And crucially, she desired you all confronting repercussions. She's likely observing from her vantage like, yes, dear, force their patience. That's when composure escaped me. I declared Grandma constituted the single individual treating me humanely. Grandma contacted monthly across 5 years while they dispatched brief greetings. Grandma inquired regarding my enterprise, existence, contentment. Grandma bequeathed everything because she perceived everything. She comprehended their conduct fully. Father shifted approach, conceded wrongdoing, but what precisely did I seek? Funds, regret. What would balance matters? I responded I desired them experiencing my exact sensations. I desired them positioned at an entrance hearing inadequacy. I desired them questioning next month's shelter. I desired them recognizing every structure they erected never truly belonged. Then I presented Father a packet, the official displacement directive, 30 days for removal. He scanned and paled instantly. Connie seized it and shrieked impossibility. They'd resided 30 years. This constituted home. Bari attempted mediation. Proposing purchase, rental payments, any solution. I informed Bari he could utilize earnings from his footage for new lodging. Suggested mother consult her physician relatives for assistance. Advised father perhaps locating transportation coins in his pockets. Perhaps locating transportation coins in his pockets, Lawrence. That's crushing. Employing their identical phrases while issuing displacement paperwork represents aspiration-level resolve. And Graham inquiring desired outcome, as though negotiable. As though Lawrence possesses evaluation. You cannot repurchase a decade of scorn, Graham. No check compensates solitary holidays, brief communications under 10 minutes. Repeated punchline status at gatherings. Certain obligations lack monetary equivalent, and presently they experience precisely Lawrence's reality, positioned at an entrance, declared insufficient. Uncertain regarding tomorrow, that's not malice, that's instruction. Then I announced property sale intentions, entirety included, primary dwelling, Bari's lower suite, Penelope's rear section. Lender already pursues their claim for resolution. Upon settlement, full listing occurs. Penelope finally voiced concern, inquired regarding the infant, their destination. I replied Bari possesses 9 months for planning. Perhaps he should have considered household security before recording sibling disgrace for amusement. They lingered at my entrance another hour, attempting every tactic. Remorse induction, fury, compromise, mother recalled early recollections. Father threatened renewed challenge despite attorney confirmation of solidity. Bari delivered genuine regret, likely initial sincere regret ever, yet 5 years delayed. I secured the entrance at midnight, 1 full hour at that threshold, exhausting every persuasion method available, remorse induction, consider the child, fury, will challenge, compromise. Will compensate occupancy, sentimentality, recall age 5, they progressed through complete emotional stages directly in his corridor while Lawrence simply observed. Permitted depletion. And Bari's regret emerges precisely when necessity arises. Not upon footage upload, not during recording, not assisting departure vehicle with final jab, now when lodging hinges upon it. That's not genuine contrition. That's urgency disguised as apology. Displacement proceedings commenced this week. Lender separately pursues parents regarding borrowings. Bari removed entire online presence after inquiries regarding footage surfaced. Penelope ceased contact afterward. They designated me household cleaner, claimed I carried defeat odor. Scattered coins at my feet. Presently they scramble, assembling fragments. Guilt evades me. I sense Grandma Miriam observing somewhere and finally perceiving her descendants accurately. That's the conclusion. That's the update. Appreciate your attention.